Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Steve Murray here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Today, our webinar is going to cover Social Security claiming. We're going to be with the coach, Dave Pimper. We're going to go over a few things regarding Social Security claiming. We'll talk not only about the expertise itself, but how to use that expertise to get in front of additional clients, which is kind of the key, and to additionally help your current clients as well. So it should be a good webinar. Dave has got a lot of experience in the business. As many of you know, I'm looking at our list, and I know that some of you have joined me on this webinar or other Dave webinars in the past. So you know Dave has been in the business since the early 80s, 500 plus seminars, 30 plus years, 25 plus years actually. Involved with radio at one level or another, and so it's great to have somebody that the focus, one of the main focuses of their business is the marketing that keeps them in front of prospects, and then the willingness to share that expertise with our group here at IAMS. So feel pretty good about that relationship. Has borne a lot of fruit over the years, the 12 or 13 years that Dave has worked with our producers and helped them grow their business. So anything that works for our guys and gals out in the field works for us. And so that's why we continue regularly to support webinars and to work with Dave, because it's just good business for our group. So thank you for joining us again this morning. Again, my name is Steve Murray, president here at Insurance Agency Marketing. I'm going to run through just a couple of things. I've shortened things up a bit because I want to get right to the heart of the matter with Dave, and he'll be joining us here very shortly as well. So let's talk a little bit about what we do here at IAMS before we start talking about Social Security claiming. And I've got aboard with us today, and a lot of it has to do with the group that we invited in. I've got a lot of folks with us this morning that are relatively new to IAMS, and so you may not necessarily be familiar with what Dave does. You may not be familiar with some of the other services that we offer, and you likely are not familiar. I would like to say that everybody that joins us, we tell them about our new producer builder program, but I know that we don't always get that done. So I want to make sure you're aware of that. So in your first 180 days of being appointed with us, we do what we would call kind of a marketing reimbursement on steroids. So we bump that up a little bit, and the goal is that if you're willing to commit to do some business with us and to give us a shout and to let us earn a portion of your business, then what we want to do is return that favor by giving you a little extra assistance along the way towards further growing your business. That's good for you and good for us. So you can see before you the different levels that you can claim at and the different things that you can claim. What I like to say on this slide, because you can see it, you can read as well as I can, so I don't need to read it to you, but what I like to say here is that if you look at those things, you can get an idea of what the value is, the actual dollar value is at what we're spending on you. And if there's something else that you are interested in, something that you maybe are currently doing, or maybe you've looked at something out in the marketplace and said, hey, I'd like to try that, we are definitely open to that. The goal here is not to push an agenda of something that will work or won't work for you. We know these things are kind of vetted out. We know how they're going to work, and we can help you through it. But that does not mean that if you have an idea that we are not 100% on board with that and helping you to look at some other things as well. So if you got a different idea about how you might want to spend the dollar value and further grow your business, we're definitely open to it. Have a conversation with myself or your sales director. Definitely a good conversation to have. Wanted to make sure that I talk just a second about EAPS. FireLight is the main EAP platform in the annuity field, and the reason I want to talk about that, as you can imagine, over the last year, we've had a tremendous flocking of our producers to FireLight because of the pandemic, and they haven't been able to get to their clients. And here's what I have learned over the past year, and we are fortunate. I mean, we've had the FireLight set up for a couple of years, but our timing on that was pretty good. We've got by the time that we had it set up and working just perfect, or 99% perfectly, then the pandemic hits and everybody needs to use it. Here's what I found is that, and this is the producers telling me what they like about EAPS and about FireLight. So the EAP process is one that I think more and more people are more used to doing stuff online. And so it looks like a really professional way to do business. And frankly, it is a professional way to do business, because what you know when you're using an e-application with your client and going through it with your client, whether it's on the phone or side by side, is that you have the right forms, you are not missing any questions, everything is getting filled out adequately, hopefully accurately, which it shortens the process. So what we found in general is that when you do an e-app, you can basically count on getting your commissions about 20% early. Our average turnaround time on a cash with app right now is 6 days. E-app, that is going to be a little bit closer to 3.5 days. So that's the good news. That turnaround is very quick, and a lot of that is because you've got the right forms. You haven't missed anything on the app, so there's not a lot of back and forth on the corrections, and then just the speed of delivery. Clients like it because like I said, it's a really professional form of delivery of that application. So whether you're sitting with them across the table and filling it out, or whether you're doing it, or maybe you've even done most of it on your own because you have the information that you need, and then just asking them a few questions, and then they get that quick email from you, and it's just like, hey, confirm your signature here, confirm your signature here, and then it gets ported out right to the carrier. And that makes for a really professional view from the client standpoint. From your standpoint, another nice thing about what we do with FireLight, so a lot of companies, you can go to their website, and that's what they use for their e-app solution is FireLight, but what you can do with IAMS is you can go to just one website. You can go to our website and access all of the carriers. And so there's a time savings for you there. You can find it, and if you need some help, you go to the one spot that you know when you're going to call, you're going to get an answer on the phone. You can do that. And then if you're doing multiple apps with multiple carriers, you can copy and paste that and that information. Not signatures, of course. You have to get still have to have the client e-sign it, but it automatically moves the information from app to app. If for whatever reason you might have to redo an app, it's nice to be able to redo that without having to go through the whole paperwork thing again. You just resubmit the application with the signatures and make whatever changes that need to be made, or maybe you didn't take your continuing ed like you needed to, or whatever caused that problem. So an e-app solution is really a great way to do it. Right now we're seeing about 35%, which is up from about 6% a year ago. So you can see adoption is really, really high on that. I would encourage you to take a good look at FireLight. I don't know why that's popping up on my computer, but it's causing me all kinds of grief. Life and Annuity Academy. So good news, back on the being able to see our producers face to face. We're in late September will be our first one. So I think it's September 29th or 28th through October 1. That's a Wednesday through a Thursday, or Wednesday through a Friday. We'd love to have you join us. We're going to take care of your expenses. We're looking for folks that are looking, to grow their business. So this is a sales and marketing. It's not annuities 101. If that is something you have interest, what I'm going to encourage you to do is call your sales director, talk with them, see if there might be a good fit for you to come in. We've got top producers that come in. We've got industry experts. We've got carrier experts. Of course, you have a number of the IAMS staff. And the goal is to help you find new ways to get in front of more clients and to be more productive when you're there. It's not to necessarily educate you on what an annuity is, or it really is not a 101. It's a 201 level class. And if you're looking for ways that, especially coming out of kind of a rough year, to grow your business and to take it to a new level, that's what the Academy is about. So if you have interest, give us a call here at the office, 800-255-5055. I want to make sure too, I like this product a lot because I've seen the difference that it's made in some of our producers' business. It's called the Retirement Analyzer. There are a lot of products out there very similar to the Retirement Analyzer. Retirement Analyzer is basically just you input, you get a nice software, you get a nice proposal out for your clients. You can show them where you can see the questions on the screen, some of the questions on the screen there that you can answer. There's a lot of questions that get answered by it. Here's what you need to know is that we like the Retirement Analyzer because it is a good combo of the information you have to put in for the quality of the information that you get out. So we think it's efficient with your time. Also, we pay for it. If you're doing business with us, we're going to pay your monthly fee, which save you a few dollars. It's probably 70, 80 bucks a month to access that. We're going to take care of that for you, even if you're not doing business with us, because I know we've got a lot of people on today that are just getting rolling with us. If you want to access the Retirement Analyzer for 30 days, even though you haven't done business with us, we'll give you that too, so you can do it. Do one on yourself or your client or whoever. Try it out. See if you think it might work for you. If you're A and B level clients, I think you'll be really happy with the opportunity. We have a lot of agencies swear by it. They will not, a client has any level of assets that they're looking to do, that full planning on, they will use Retirement Analyzer every time. IAMS Wealth Management is our RIA, and I'm going to throw up the first poll of our day here. If you looking to grow your business via managed money, and you want to have a conversation with the RIA, I'm going to tell you that IAMS Wealth Management, if you're not already, if you're in the insurance business and you want to add managed money, I don't think anybody in the business is going to be better for you than IAMS Wealth, because we have done that with a number of our producers. That's how we've grown that business over the last 4 years, and it's going to be the core of our growth 4 years to come, I'm sure. So we can help you with that process. How do I get tested? How do I, best pass? How do I best now add that into my conversations with my client? That's what they do all day long. You can see from the slide, or you can't anymore because I threw the poll up over it, but it's a great way to increase your revenue. You're going to have stickier clients. You're not going to have to refer that business, which if the deal has their way, I think it's going to be kind of incumbent upon you to offer other than insurance products via someone. And so that means that you either refer it to IAMS Wealth, which you can do, or you refer it to another producer in your area that handles AUM, or you get it yourself. Obviously, of those three options, by far the best is one that increases your credibility with your client, makes you more money, builds the value of your business over time. And I get really good feedback from the folks that have done that on the increase that they've seen on their insurance business. They really like the fee structure. We charge probably less fees than most RIAs. We get better value for it, so I get really good feedback there. And then the payouts, our payouts are a little bit over 1%, and they do not run through a grid. So you don't get 90 or 80 or 70 or 60% of that 1%. You get all of it. So if you have interest in talking to somebody, check yes on that poll. We'll get you the initial 5 to 7 minute conversation where you can ask your questions. They can kind of tell you a little bit about what they do and how they do it, what the hurdles that you'll have to leap over. And if it's fit, great. And then they'll have a longer conversation. If it's not, you just spend 5 to 7 minutes to kind of get an idea of what you think might be best for your business. I think that's time well spent. So I'm going to close that poll out. Thank you all for voting so quickly. There's a couple of you that hadn't voted. I'm sure there's good reason for that. If you want to, if it's a technical reason, just call me on the phone, 800-255-5055. I'll be glad to get you in touch with Sarah or Charles or Duncan or one of the folks over on that team that can help you through that process. So let me close that poll out. I want to talk to you about our Top Producer Summit, then we're going to get to the heat of our discussion today. So the Top Producer Summit qualification started the first of the year, and it actually runs 18 months. And you can see it takes 4.5 million points to qualify. Annuity premium, deferred annuity premium is 1-to-1. So over 18 months, you're at 4.5 million of annuity premium. You and your guest are flying over to Rome and taking a 7-night, 8-day cruise all the way down the Italian coast, coming back up through Croatia, Montenegro, and back, finishing up again in Venice, beautiful city of Venice. So we'd love to have you join us on that. Every piece of business that you do with IAMS, you have some value, it counts for it. So whether you're doing med-sup or long-term care or life insurance, single premium life, annuities, anything that you do counts towards you and your guest qualifications. We'd love to have you join us. Plenty of time to qualify, very qualifiable event. Great chance to rub elbows with producers, good quality producers just like yourself, and share some ideas. And boy, it'd be nice to be sharing that while you're walking through the gates at the Vatican or on a gondola in Venice. So we'd love to have you join us there. If you have any questions on that, obviously give me a call or give your sales director a call if you need to know where you're at in terms of qualification, or if you're just getting started. Remember, you still got 14 or 13 months now to qualify, so very qualifiable event. We'd love to have you join us. All right, let's talk to the coach, Mr. Dave Pimper. I gave him, Dave, I always like to tell everybody all about you before you get on, because I don't want your head to get too big.
No, I try to keep it so I can get it through the door. That's very important.
There you go. But I did mention to him a lot of years of experience in the business and radio, a lot of years of experience with seminars, taking on the Social Security claiming over the past 11 years. What I didn't really talk as much about is the expertise that you've developed over the past 10 or 11 years on Social Security has really been encyclopedic. You've grown that to the point where you become our go-to person for information on Social Security claiming, and obviously the folks that you've coached in that can access you. I don't want to say 24/7 because I know you got a life, but I know you try and make yourself real accessible to answer questions. So if they're in front of a client or need something real quick, you can help them with that. And you would, if you're going to say about 99 questions out of 100 by now, you can pretty much answer from your own knowledge, and you've got great resources to get any other question in that one out of 100 questions answered for someone if they need it as well. So really valuable to have on the team for a lot of reasons. And that's what we're going to talk about today is Social Security claiming, and then we'll also delve a little bit into how you use that expertise to help your clients and grow your client database. So now let me turn it over to the star of today's production, Mr. Dave Pimper.
Well, I wouldn't say star, but I've done it for a long time, 40 years. This July the 9th will be 40 years. I started on July 9th of 1981. Been a good ride, and I'm not nearly done. I'm going to keep on, and I'm out there humping for business just like every other producer that is on this phone call with us today. I'm going to first say this. If you've got a question, certainly just type it on in. We will be more than happy to answer that. But Social Security is a truly misunderstood subject, not just by the general population of the U.S., but by advisors and agents. Only about 1 in 10 person in the financial field, and I'm talking about CPAs and lawyers and bankers and Merrill Lynch and Morgan Stanley, Edward Jones, MetLife, Northwestern Mutual. I mean, independent across the board. Very few advisors really understand Social Security claiming. And if you're working with the pre-retired or just retired, so somewhere from 55 to say 70, and you don't really have information on Social Security, shame on you. I mean, it's a big income for most people. I had a point yesterday, and interesting. I didn't get along very well with the band. I did the woman, but it was his money. Retired from a company here in near Fremont, between Fremont and Omaha, big pivot irrigation company, and he took out $433,000 4 years ago and put it into a variable annuity, which has grown about $120,000. Been fair and aggressive, 65% of stocks, 35% in bonds. But we've had such a great market over the last 4 years. Interesting that his variable annuity, his accumulation value was higher than his living benefit value, just because it did well. But what happens is that they came in when I asked them what's the most important thing they want to cover today. It was Social Security. They want to find out Social Security because they came into a Social Security seminar. This is one of the 10 appointments that I had in Fremont back about 3 weeks ago. But there's $533,000 that we uncovered in this variable annuity, and one of the big things was I asked him, I can figure out your return, but do you know what you're paying for fees on this? And he said, I think it's like 1.25% maybe. Well, that's what the income rider fee was. By the time you had the, M&E, and by the time that you had administration, and by the time you had the fund expense, all of a sudden now we're at 3.25%, paying $18,000 a year. Well, all of a sudden, now there's interest. But where did the lead come in from? The reason I bring this up, because it came in from wanting to get information on Social Security. That was important to him, getting information on Social Security. I don't know if Steve is there or not. If he is, I got some reboot stuff going on. There we go. So let's do this. Let's go in and talk about where retirees get their help on Social Security. When I got into the Social Security information business 11 years ago, I called my CPA, my lawyer, and my banker, all up in the 60s. I mean, they've been around for 30, 40 years in the business. I said, if people want advice on Social Security, and who do you give them to? And he said, I give them to the Social Security Administration. That's what I do. Well, the interesting thing is Social Security Administration does not give advice. Now how absolutely bizarre is that? Social Security Administration does not give advice. Who does? Dave Pimper does. Or if you really understand Social Security. So it says here, most retirees get little advisor help on Social Security by Sarah O'Brien from CNBC. a majority of older Americans get no professional advice about a key part of their retirement planning, Social Security, even if they work with a financial advisor. A recent study concluded. Is that bizarre? I don't have it here, but I know Steve Murray, who's the co-host and co-owner of IAMS, said that if they worked with an advisor that knew Social Security, or say didn't know Social Security, there's over a 50% chance that that client would move over with the advisor that understands Social Security.
Yeah, the client said like 73% of the clients would make a move. That's just crazy.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
And Steve, when once in a while when someone has an advisor, I do say, well, why aren't you talking with him? Well, he doesn't know Social Security. And I said, does he work your age? And he's working with people in your age group. I would think there'd all be all kinds of questions. Yeah, he just doesn't know much. Well, that makes an impact. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a test here, a 5-question quiz, and please take it with me. Okay, we're going to go through this pretty quick now. I want to see how much you really know and understand about Social Security. And the headline on this was a Social Security test that 1 in 300 seniors could ace. I aced it. There's one tricky question, but I aced it. But here it is. To maximize your monthly Social Security checks, at what age must you claim benefits? To maximize your Social Security checks, at what age must you claim benefits? What's the answer? Write it down. Take the test with me. Here we go. If you put down full retirement age, it's wrong. It's age 70. That's when you maximize your benefit. Second question, what's the earliest age you can receive survivor's benefits if you're not disabled? What's the earliest age you can receive survivor's benefits if you're not disabled? Any question? Got an answer? The correct answer here is 60. At a 28.5% discount, but you can collect it as early as 60. Does your spouse need to receive benefits for you to qualify for spousal benefits? So to get a spousal benefit, does your spouse need to receive current benefits? Yes, no. And if you don't know, you can guess. I got a 50-50 chance, but you don't know. Here's the answer. You do. They have to claim for you to get half of theirs. Now, can divorced spouses receive spousal benefits? And if you're taking this quiz with me or you're just listening to the answers, and all those come off the top of my head, pretty simple. But most people just don't know. They just don't know Social Security. That's why we're doing this webinar, is to get 3 different ways you can get coached up on Social Security through Dave Pimper and Insurance Agency Marketing Services, working together to educate our advisor on Social Security claiming. Can divorced spouses receive spousal benefits? Can divorced spouses receive spousal benefits? Yes, they can. No, they can't. Here we go. Yep, they can. If 4 stipulations are met, and to get this question right, you got to go on in and you got to answer 2 of the stipulations. What are the 2 stipulations? Well, you know what they are? First of all, the marriage must have lasted at least 10 years. Had to last at least 10 years or longer. You're currently unmarried, taking the benefit. Your ex can be married, but not you. Thirdly, ex be at least 62. And lastly, it was at least 2 years or longer that the divorce was. If all 4 of those line up, you can go in and use your ex-spouse just as if you're still married to them. Why is that important in the Social Security? Because there's many more benefits for spousal options than there is for a single option. So if you got 2 of those 4 and you guessed or answered yes, I'm going to give that to you. All right. Last question. Are you eligible for survivor's benefits if you're divorced? Are you eligible for survivor's benefits if you're divorced? Yes, you are. If those 4 stipulations are met. I'm not, if you forgot, if you can't do those 4, then you need to get a better memory, because that was just last slide. Yeah, you've been married for 10 years or longer. You're currently unmarried. Your ex is at least 62 or older, and the divorce was at least 2 years ago. Yep. Only 1 in 300 people can get that right, and with agents, not many agents are going to get all those right. But if you only got 1 or 2 right, or had to guess on all of them, yeah, I will tell you, coaching could be something that could be worthwhile for you. Now, let me say this: Social Security is a big thing. For more than half the people, it's probably their major source of income. And this comes from Janet Herron from the USA Today. It says doing this one thing with your Social Security could mean losing $100,000 in retirement. Listen to this. How much does claiming Social Security at the wrong time cost you? Bullet point 2. Listen closely. Retirees will lose an average of $111,000 in income per household over their lifetime. Why? Because they took Social Security benefits at the wrong time. We can help people to take it the right time, not at the wrong time. Bullet point 3, overall, only 4% of retirees took Social Security at the financially optimal age. Another way to say that is, overall, 96% of retirees took Social Security at the financially non-optimal age. Almost everybody. And that doesn't mean everybody waits until the age of 70. To maximize ours out, my wife took it 62. I'm delaying, but she didn't. Yeah, it differs for everybody. Let me say this too. There's 3 ways through us, Pimper and Insurance Agency Marketing Services, IAMS, the FMO, but they understand that knowledge is power. Knowledge leads to more apps. More apps for the FMO is more money for them, more money for you. It's a win-win situation. Social Security is one of those areas that most younger advisors could care less about this, because they know that they're not going to go in and they're not going to claim for another 20, 30 years. Also, people aren't ever interested in Social Security until they get older. They know that, and most people don't think it's going to be around, which is a falsehood. Be around later in life. But here's the 3 ways. Retirement Boss Radio is a radio host show that I put together. We market it through IAMS, Insurance Agency Marketing Services. It's an hour co-hosted show. We have the media buyer. We have the production company. Because it's recorded, it's not live. We have a live inbound high-end high-touch call center that sets the appointments off of an electronic calendar of yours and theirs, so there's never duplicating. Pretty slick, very slick. With that, about 30, 35, even 40% of all questions that come in Business I Write are related around Social Security claiming. So I coach you up. If you do Retirement Boss Radio, I coach you up on Social Security. We have 3 coaching sessions. How about seminars, Social Security seminars? The country's opening up right now. I did my first face-to-face back 3 weeks ago. In fact, the client I was talking about, or prospect I was talking about, $500,000, 533 or 53,000. Yeah, that came from the Social Security workshop. Okay, so face-to-face Social Security seminars. There, I coached that up for 3 sessions. 3 sessions, and then we handle all of the marketing, people getting there. It's $2,500. We hope we can get 20 to 25 folks between 2 nights. I got 10 appointments last time I did it. Okay? If you're not marketing, you should, but I coach you up. There's no cost. IAMS stipends me to coach you up on that. And then if you don't want to do any marketing, you just want to go in and pay it a la carte, $800. $800 to go in with 4 coaching sessions on Social Security. So I'll tell you right now, you're not going to find any FMOs that give you 3 different ways, 2 at no cost to you through ongoing marketing programs for lead generation, and 1 just a la carte. That's the way it is with our system. We want to get people coached up because it increases their business, no question about it. Okay, so here we go. Social Security Act was started in 1935 by FDR. There used to be only 1 date to take Social Security. 1 date was 65. Of course, that changed now. You can take as early as 62 and as late as 70. Remember way back when this started, average longevity of a person was 62 years of age. Today it's nearly 80. Yeah. Cost of living allowances started in 75. Taxation started in 83. The last major change in Social Security was the Bipartisan Budget Act, where they phased out file and suspend over 6 months and phasing out restricted application over 8 years, ending on January the 2nd of 2024. Okay? Any questions, type them in. I'll be more than happy to go in there. Oh, I want to go the other way, don't I? Sorry. Yeah, so how important is Social Security? 59% of all retirees count on their Social Security benefit to be the major source of income. More than 401ks, more than savings, more than pension. A pension is truly a dying breed. Yeah, Social Security 101. Here's the three ages or dates that are important. You have the earliest date you can take is 62. The latest date you have to take or you lose the benefit, age 70. And then your full retirement age, which is your full amount of money without any kind of discounting, is somewhere between 66 and 67. If you take earlier than full retirement age, you get it now, is a good point, but it's discounted. You don't get as much of a benefit. It can be discounted as much as up to 30%. And if you take after full retirement age, it's guaranteed to grow 8% a year. 8%. Did you see that? Cost of living this year is 1.3%. Did you see today I saw in the paper that year over year we're averaging 5% inflation. A lot of that is with cars. I mean, they're getting sticker price for cars right now. Car prices have gone up. Used car prices have gone up. Oil has gone up. Housing has gone up. There's been a lot of inflation. And so if you're making 8%, you add 5% to that, you're guaranteed, if it is 5% COLA, cost of living adjustment, you're guaranteed 13% on your money. Where do you get a guarantee from the government that you can compete against that? Cannot. Just cannot at all. Can Social Security have a huge value? It can if you're claiming at your right time. Not the right time, not a right time, but your right time. Those are the actual slides. Now, those are just a few slides. I mean, I have actually 44, so this is about half of the slides, maybe a third, that we actually use in the presentation. But the gal yesterday on that big VA, she said what really hit home with me was when you said it can have a huge value if you claim at your right time, not just the right. That made a big impact on her. And so that's why I say that, claiming at your right time, not the right time. Yeah, there's about $2.9 trillion. There's actually about, this slide is 1 year old, so there's about $2.8 trillion. But they're still running an increase or a surplus. It was about $6 billion last year. And yeah, it probably is going to run I would say a deficit for the first time since 1983. That's the last time they ran a deficit. But this trust fund is going to start dwindling down. And that's when they talk about Social Security going bankrupt. Okay? It's the trust fund. Social Security, the income stream, can't go bankrupt. It might get reduced, but it can't go bankrupt because there's so much money coming in from payroll taxes. The 6.2% you pay, the 6.2% your employer pays, for a grand total of 12.4%. That's ongoing. That pays for somewhere between 25 and 80% of all of your benefit if the trust fund was down to zero. That trust fund is only used if there isn't enough money from the income coming in from Social Security taxes. Okay? Next slide. It's a pay-as-you-go system. You darn right it is. Now, people will call it a Ponzi scheme because back in Lyndon B. Johnson's, LBJ's presidential years, it used to be a trust fund was segregated, but then they were able to use that money to go into the general fund. Those bonds, those special issue bonds that are bought with that nearly $1 trillion each year, they actually now are IOUs from the U.S. government. Okay? But what's stronger than, that's what backs the American money is an IOU. There's not gold or silver. Same thing I back Social Security. So I'm not concerned. It's not a Ponzi scheme. USA does borrow, but they place their full faith and credit right there. So I have no question Social Security will be around for a long, long time. So when you're figuring out your benefit, you need 40 quarters of coverage. 40 quarters of coverage. Now, what happens is those quarters, if you earn $1,470 in 2021, this does go up with inflation, if there is inflation, but 2021, it's $1,470. So if you make $1,470 in any quarter, you get a quarterly credit. The max you can have is 4 of those a year. The max is 4. So if you make $1,470 times 4 quarters, that's $5,880. That means you max out your 4 quarters. You can't get five credits in a year. You can certainly get less than 4, but that $1,470 is the figure. The more you make, the bigger the credits are, the more your income is when you retire. Okay. Now they look at your earnings over your working career. They take your 35 highest paid in years. Your 35 highest paid in years. Inflation adjusted. Only been 3 years there hasn't been a cost of living adjustment. 2010, 11, and 16. Every other year since 75 when they started, there's been a cost of living adjustment raise. Okay? If you got any questions, type them in. We're going to answer them here at the end of the presentation. Yeah, FRA, full retirement age. Get the full benefit, not discounted. If you're born from 43 to 54, your full retirement age is 66. I was born in 55. 66 years and 2 months. If I was born in 56, 66 years and 4 months. Stair steps up 2 months for each year until 1960 or later. Child born today in the hospital, full retirement age, 67. Okay? Here, if you take early, it's reduced about 5 to 6% a year. Look, if your full retirement age is 67, you take it 62, it's reduced by 30%. If your full retirement age is 66 and take it 62, 75%. Nearly 40% of all Americans take it the earliest they can at 62. Some do because their health isn't good and going to live long enough to have the break even. Some just need the money, but a lot of people take it just kind of out of ignorance, just really don't know, aren't educated. That's what we do, is educate people to make the right decision. If you after full retirement age, say 66, if you're born before 1955, yeah, your benefit grows 8% guaranteed a year, and any kind of inflation is on top of that. It's a big, big number, I'll assure you. So you may have heard me say this before in other Social Security webinars or symposiums we've had, or when I teach face to face at annuity academies. But Social Security spousal benefits, it's one of the five things that you really need to understand about Social Security. And here are the 5 things, or 5 areas. The individual benefit, which we just went over. The spousal benefit, divorced spouse, surviving spouse, and restricted application. Now, if you know those 5 areas kind of inside and out, you can answer virtually every Social Security question that comes across, except for the really weird ones. No, probably 80-85% of all your questions can be answered. Now, I go through much quicker when I'm going through those slides on a webinar than I would if we were coaching. We role play, I give you more insight, but those are the actual slides that we coach from. There's 44 slides, PowerPoint presentation. I put it together, marketed, solely through IAMS, Insurance Agency Marketing Services. They're kind of my marketing arm, but a real good partner. We work together. I've done my business with them for 15 years, and I've been coaching with them for 14 years. And my expertise is around retirement planning, sales process, and Social Security claiming. That's what we're talking about right now. Remember, 3 ways to get it. Market through Retirement Boss Radio, the radio host show for an hour, pre-recorded. Lots of areas still available. I coach you up on Social Security at no cost to you. 3 sessions, IAMS pays for it. It could be through Social Security seminars, What you're not marketing right now, you should. Things are hot. Things are opening up all across the nation face to face. We coach you there at no charge. IAMS does pay me, but it's still charged to you, and then just a la carte. I'll pay you $200 a session for 4 sessions, Dave, $800, and there we coach for 4 sessions. I get a little bit more into depth if you're going to a la carte it. Yeah, pretty cool to learn Social Security. And if you work with the pre-retired crowd or just retired, you should know it. So here we go. Now I'm going to go through those next 4 pretty quick. But so here's what happens. Dave's primary insurance amount, the amount at full retirement age is $2,400. Amy's benefit is $1,000. Dave takes his, $2,400. Amy takes hers. She has an option. She can take all of hers or half of Dave's, whichever is higher. Which one's higher? Half of Dave's is $1,200, $200 higher. And the way Social Security report says, you get $1,000 of your individual benefit and a $200 top up. All right. Now, let's just say that Amy takes her $1,000, but they're both 66 full retirement age. He wants to keep working. He's not going to take his benefit until 70. So now Amy gets $1,000, or does she get $1,200? She gets $1,000. She can't take half of his until he takes his. And if his $2,400 with delayed retirement credits grow to $3,400, she doesn't get half of $3,400. She just gets half of $2,400. You can't get half of the delayed retirement credits. How about Dave? Has a benefit of $2,400, and Amy was never got her 40 quarterly credits in. She's a at-home mom, volunteer. Yeah. She does not get any benefit until Dave takes his. Once Dave takes his, now she's able to get half of his at full retirement age. Okay? Just a lot going on with different things. How about when you go for spousal, if you go in and you take a look at divorced spouse? And this benefit is missed many times. Remember those 4 yes stipulations? Your marriage was at least 10 years continuous or more. You're currently unmarried. Your ex is at least 62. The divorce was at least 4 years ago, or 2 years ago or longer. At least 2 years ago or longer. Yeah. All right. If that's the case, you can take your ex, and married couples many times have more options than what single couples do. Survivor benefit. My wife always says nobody gets out of here alive. That's true. Maybe spiritually, but not physically. Dave's benefit is $2,000. Amy's benefit is $1,200. Who normally dies first in a marriage? The guy does. Guy dies off. Amy can keep her $1,200, or she can drop it and take Dave's $2,000. She can take her $1,200, or she can drop hers and take. What is she going to do? Yeah, she's going to drop hers. She's going to take Dave's. Here's the interesting thing. Do you have to ask for an individual benefit, or is it given to you by Social Security? You have to ask for it. Got to apply for it. How about spousal benefit? Got to apply for it, or is it given to you? It's given to you. How about survivor benefit? You have to apply for it, or is it given to you? You have to ask for it. It's like biblical. It's like if you ask, you'll receive. If you don't ask, you don't get. And I'll tell you right now, Social Security, you do not get a letter saying, hey, you're leaving money on the table. They don't say that. They would rather have you not claim so they don't have to pay out the benefit. But it has to be requested. Now, if you're getting something out of this is just a very short webinar, maybe 30 minutes on my part. What do you think you're going to learn when you have 3 or 4 sessions for 45 minutes? You get full attachments. You're reading, which I consider the Bible of the book on Social Security. You can call me with any questions. You can email with any questions, not just when we're coaching, but from there on out. Yeah, I'll tell you right now, I've maybe not every day, but almost every day I have somebody call me on a security question. It's a big deal. I mean, over 50% of the people in the U.S. rely as their major source of income in retirement. And then coordinating spousal benefits, or something called restricted application. See where it says must be born before January 2nd of 54? That's who applies for it. So they got to be 67 and a half years old right now. If you're not that old, then you can't do this. But if you are born before January 2nd of 1954, this is really exciting. Now, I know this is complicated, so stick with me on this. Dave and Amy are both full retirement age. Dave's PIA primary insurance amount is 2,400. Amy's PIA primary insurance amount of full retirement age is 1,000. Amy files for benefits. She wants money coming into the household. Dave's going to let his grow. But because he was born before January the 2nd of 1954, he can let it grow another way by doing a restricted application. He restricts his application to his wife's benefit. Of course, this is gender neutral, but in this case, his wife's benefit. So his 2,400 in the eyes of Social Security was never started, and it keeps on growing, the 8% guarantee. But under this loophole called restricted application, he's able to reach out once he restricts and get a spousal benefit, which is always half of the spouse's benefit. What's half of 1,000? $500. 500 times 12, that's 6,000 a year of free money. Free money, no strings attached. That only 0.7% of all of American public that could restrict their application do. 0.7%. A lot of that is just because they don't know about it. Well, we're here to tell them. I just found a gal $28,000 about a month ago. $28,000. This is no kidding. I'm telling you the honest truth. She had all those statements and stuff. She looks at me and she goes, "I'm going to be bold, but I want you as my advisor." Pretty fun. 400,000+ on that deal. Came in from radio. Her question was all about Social Security. Yeah. Called restricted application. Now, what can Social Security do and can't do? They can't give you advice. They can give you highest benefit right now, but they cannot give you advice. Here it comes right from their manual. It's called the POMS Manual, Program Operations Manual System. Provide enough information so that claimants can make informed choices, but do not give advice. But you didn't know that. So I'm going to read through each one of those because I think they're that important. What you consider. You need to consider your income streams before you claim Social Security. First of all, Social Security is not a standalone income stream. How it goes in and is complemented by the other 4 income streams. Social Security, I consider it to be the most flexible of all income streams because you can pick the time when you want to claim it. Claiming at your right time can be paramount, not the right time. And don't forget about the survivor benefit. Because when people figure out break evens at 78, 79, or 80, like my dad died 15 years ago. My mom's still using his much higher benefit, and she's 97 years old. So it's the break even if you have a survivor off the survivor benefit. I prospect off of this, as far as fact finding, but Social Security is one of the 5 pillars of income. I get their wages, I get their pensions, I get their income producing assets, I get their RMDs off of traditionals, and then I know what their Social Security is. 1 and 2 make no money for me, 4 and 5 make no money for me, but 3, finding out what that 457 or what that 403B or what that IRA or what that Roth IRA or what that brokerage account or what that sold piece of land, whatever the asset is, I try to find something that I can work with. Do I take partials? All day long. Would I rather have all of it? All day long, but it just doesn't happen that way. I get a lot of partial business. Is how it's conduits off of the other income streams. Now, when you claim your Social Security, think about all the different, you got tons of things to think about. There's just a lot to consider before you claim. Last time, just so you know, 3 ways to get coaching from me. It's not from one of my associates. It's with myself, and my style of coaching is kind of what you're hearing today. But we do a lot of role playing, and I kind of quiz and keep you on your toes a little bit. But it's a subject, when you master Social Security claiming, it's like getting, truly, it's like getting a master's degree in finance. It's a big deal. You really are helping people. And in turn, hopefully you're getting really compensated from the investments or the guaranteed fixed index or fixed or life or whatever you're marketing, but hopefully you get that. You get it coached free through a marketing program of Retirement Boss Radio host marketing, a show for an hour, also through Social Security seminars, which is all done in-house. And we're pretty good at what we do with myself and with Insurance Agency Market Services. Or just say, hey, I don't want marketing. I just want to pay $800, and Dave, you coach me up for four 45-minute sessions. There's an old saying that says, procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. Tomorrow never comes because you're procrastinating. No one's ever come to me and said, hey, Dave, can't believe how rich I got from procrastinating. The reason I bring this up, if you heard something in this webinar that you think, hey, I need to get coached up. I need to find out at least what's the ins and outs of it. I need to make a little investment in myself. Does it happen overnight? No. But if you heard something, you need to mark yes. So we're going to put a poll question up, Steve will. And on that poll, it's if you would like for us to get together by phone. It's not a long conversation because you're busy and we got lots of appointments, but 15, 20 minutes, but just talking about what you're doing and maybe how I can help you specifically around Social Security. Now it might be, maybe you'll mark yes because of Social Security seminars, or maybe you mark yes because of Retirement Boss Radio. Well, I don't care why you mark yes, but talking with me, I'm going to give you some insight on what Social Security can kind of consist of and what it could maybe do for you, but also from a marketing side. Are you marketing to your kind of your fullest right now? I do lots of marketing. I'm on multiple radio shows each weekend. I'm doing Social Security seminars. I got 8,000 mailers that we're doing for lead generation. Within the Medicare end of our business. I mean, we're marketers. That's what we do, and we help people duplicate what we're doing. So if you mark yes, then we will go in and we will talk within the next week's time period. Someone, I don't know if it's David Corwin or Scott Earhart, but one of the marketing directors will call you, and then they'll set up, they've got our calendar, or they'll hook us up with us. We'll get a good time. Those are not long conversations, 15 or 20 minutes, but I promise you it'll be worth your time. Steve, as people are filling this out, I will jump it over to you to take the controls and see if we have any questions, and then we'll put the lid on this show, okay?
Perfect. Good stuff, Dave. As always, got a lot of interest. One of the things that you mentioned was radio as a way. So I'm going to, just in a second here, I'm going to chat message to everybody the link for Retirement Boss Radio, but it's www.retirementbossradio.com. And I'll chat that to you here in just a second if you didn't get it written down. www.retirementbossradio. So there are 3 questions about how, what's this radio thing? How's it work? Can you give us the 1.5? I know we do a webinar on that, and certainly if you want to hear more about it, be glad, just say so, and I'll get you a link to the full webinar. But Dave, give them the 1.5-minute version of what you have accomplished with the Retirement Boss Radio and how that works generally.
Yeah, I've done radio. My 40 years in the business as of July the 9th, so in about a month. I never had luck with 30-second ads or 1-minute ads. I tried. I just couldn't get them to work. I got a little bit of my company awareness of myself out there as branding, but I want appointments, because appointments lead to second appointments that lead to third closing appointments that leads to writing business. That's what I want. And so I had a live show mainly for branding for 11 years, 7:15 to 8 o'clock a.m. on Saturday morning. But this show, Retirement Boss Radio, I put this together. When I say put together, meaning I found the media buyer, the production company, which was really tough to find, was the call center that had the expertise and the high touch of the type of people that are calling in to set the appointments. We never send out information. We don't. We have appointments. Now, once in a while they're on the phone, or once in a while they're Zoomed, but almost all of mine are face to face. I've had people drive 120 miles to come in and see me, which we did business. No kidding. From the radio show. But the radio is an hour show. It's recorded. So it's recorded. So you can take out the bloopers and take out the mistakes, and it's for an hour, and you record really only for half an hour. Then we use a repeat show for the other half. It saves saves on production costs. And cost wise, I've seen all costs. The radio time is the most expensive, but you got to find the right station at the time at a competitive price. It's like location for for property, for land. But I will say this, it's a very, very good way to go in and to get your name in front of thousands of people and hopefully get, a couple, 1, 2, 3, 4 appointments each weekend. We've really done well. And I say done well, meaning the people who call in, they're taking a step, they're taking a jump. And when they come in, they're not doing it for no reason whatsoever. It's been a very good appointment setting system. Now the costs anywhere from the average is probably $3,500 to $4,500 a month. So not probably about the same as what the old dinner workshops were. Now our seminar system, Steve, is $2,500, but it's not a dinner. We give away Cokes, coffees, and cookie. That's what I say. I mean the 3 C's. But what happens is that Retirement Boss Radio, a lot of people never consider radio for a prospecting method because they think it's way too expensive. Just not the case.
No, and that's boy, and now we've lit the fire on radio. So there's a number of other questions, and in the as you've talked here, I think you've answered a few of them. The pre-recording part of it. So Dave has a part of that is the production includes what I call the Ed McMahon. Depending on how old you are, you remember Ed McMahon and Johnny Carson, kind of the sidekick that keeps things flowing.
And how old are you? How young do you think our crowd is? Can you remember Ed McMahon?
They do not tell me their name, their ages.
You're right. Yeah, we can't legally ask for that. Oh, what a kind guy.
But that's all included in that pricing that Dave gave you. And there's a little bit of upfront cost to get the right materials that you need. That's probably another $200 or so. But radio is the leap should not be the money, and it shouldn't be the time. And it should, everybody is not successful at it, and some people don't translate well to radio, but that's like the bottom 10%. So most people do a fine job with radio, and it's a great way to raise your awareness. And the reason it's coming up when we're talking about Social Security is, Dave, would you agree that Social Security is probably your most sought? When you say, let's open up the phones for free Social Security analysis, is that probably your top appointment getter?
It is. Yeah, I would say 30 to 40% of my appointments originate out of some question about Social Security. So that's why we coach Social Security up at no charge to them if they come into Retirement Boss Radio or the seminar system with Social Security. Yep.
Yeah, I know the seminars for $2,500. I see that in a couple questions about that. How do you do that for $2,500? So it is that is the right price. You're probably going to get between 18 and 35 folks, in front of over 2 nights to talk about Social Security claiming for that $2,500. And Dave, your appointments, what do you see for appointments from your seminars? What percentage?
Well, I want to make sure I get 10 or more.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can get 10, the chance of writing business is very, very good. In fact, couple people. But if you only have 6 or 7 buying units there, you might just have, and then the odds aren't as much in your favor. But I will tell you right now, the way that we have we do it now through Facebook marketing, and I am fairly amazed of how many people are on Facebook. I mean, I am, but not avidly, but lots of people are. And Steve, that's kind of the new wave. And I was resistant of, I remember for a year, I did part hard mail, part in Facebook. Now, we have another lead generation from the Medicare, and we're doing very well there, but we're doing it from hard mailing. So the nice thing of talking to someone who's doing it, I mean, I've walked in those tracks, but with seminar marketing, I have 540 public workshops, and of those, probably 85 or 90 are Social Security workshops. And we really kind of fine-tuned it. Boy, things are opening up right now, too. U.S. is opening up, and a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon to give Social Security seminars. So that's something else we can certainly talk about if you marked yes and we're talking.
Oh, which reminds me, I forgot to check the poll. I delivered it. Yes, I did. Good. I want to make sure I hit launch on it. Here's what I would say: if you have any, if you just have a question, and there are a couple kind of very specific questions here, Dave. If you've asked a real specific question about Social Security and you'd like to get the answer from Dave, I would put yes on that poll. You'll get a call from Scott. Scott will set up an appointment with Dave, and you can have that 5 or 7 minute conversation with Dave to get your answer. But if you want to hear, which I'm guessing is the case for most of you, if you want to hear more about Social Security training, radio, seminars, and how Dave has grown his business to such large proportions over the past 30 years. That's a longer call, but probably more valuable to you. So I would hit yes on that poll. I've never had anybody say, boy, I sure wasted my time with Dave. Never happens. You're always going to get something good from a phone call with Dave, which Dave, thank you for that. I appreciate you being
You bet. Yep. It's
valuing
fun.
and respecting the time of the folks that call you and always giving them something good for their
It's
time.
not,
So,
Steve, and you know this. It's not easy being an independent
no,
insurance or independent advisor. It's not easy. It's kind of you're out there on the rock,
yeah.
and I'm kind of lots of times I'm kind of like that, kind of that floating board of directors where they can bounce things off of me, ask me this, ask me that. I'm more than happy to help you. So, but learning Social Security, I'm telling you, if you don't know it and you're working that age group, you should. And this is a great opportunity. One of 3 ways to go in and really master Social Security.
Man, Dave, you can identify with the people that say, Social Security, not really a big deal. Because I know when we talked about 12 years ago, it was a little bit of a leap for you to say, hey,
You told me. You said, Dave, I really think you should learn this. So I went and ordered Horse's Mouth. I got it. I looked at like 3 slides and said, nah, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. But because I called them and said, is there someone that will walk me through? Well, it's done online, and you can ask questions online, and then they'll.
different.
And I said, I need someone to help. But that, you know what? If that would have been Steve, I would have done it then.
Yep.
I'd have done it then. But then, like 6 months later, a year later, after like 3 people right in a row asked me Social Security questions, and I didn't know the answer, I called you up. Do you remember this? I called you up and said, I am going to learn. He said, well, what did it? And I said, 3 people, like in 2 days, asked me Social Security questions. I had no clue. Yeah, that's when I did it. And you know what? I'm so happy I did. Yep.
Yeah, as we talked about earlier, it's been kind of a difference maker for you, and I can name, probably 15, 20 other folks that would absolutely say that working with you on Social Security claiming has been a real game changer in their business, and you know that there are many more folks than that use what you've taught them regularly, and seminars kind of because of the pandemic, it got a little tougher, but those are lighting up again now. I think we canceled 17, 18 seminars late or early last year because of the pandemic, but those are coming back now with a
You bet.
vengeance, and so it'd be good to get back into that. Thank
I
you
agree.
all for joining us today. We have 100% voted, Dave, and
Oh, fun. Well,
yeah,
we had quite a few folks for Friday in the
yep,
summer, almost summer, and it feels like that in Nebraska.
you
But
bet.
thank you very much for attending today. I'm looking forward to speaking with everybody. And when Scott calls you, take the call. You know what? I mean, he's busy, you're busy. Take the call, and we'll get this lined up with myself, and hopefully give you some great insight on Social Security or marketing programs.
You bet. Light a fire. We'll do the 4th of July analogy. We'll light the fuse on a rocket to your
You
business
darn
there,
right.
because you'll
Yep.
be pleased with the results. I guarantee it. Thank you all for joining us today. That's the reason that we do these, is because we value the producers. We know how hard it is. As Dave mentioned, you're a little bit out there on your own, and we understand that. So we want to help you build a little bit of a group of folks that you feel like you can count on for business assistance. And that's what we want to do for you here at IAMS, because it's only if things are going good for you that things are going good for us. And so we want to make sure things are going well for you. Dave has been kind enough to pitch in on the coaching side for years and years, and it's been so beneficial to so many of our guys, and well worth our time and money. And Dave enjoys it a lot, which shows in the way that he works with folks. And so there's some real benefits that go to the bottom line, and you're the bottom line. And so we want to make sure that that's the case always. And we're real happy that you joined us here today. And we're biased towards helping people like you that are willing to take time out of your schedule. So whatever we can do to help you, you give us a call. You know our number. It's 800-255-5055. You can ask for me. My name's Steve Murray. You can ask for any one of the sales directors. They will be glad to spend some time with you, and we'd love to get you in touch with Dave and add Social Security claiming to the roster of things that you're an expert at. So have a great day. Have a great weekend. Hope everybody's going to have some sunny skies and some blueness coming at you over the weekend. I know there's been some weather around the country, so whatever we do to help, let us help you, but let's not do it until Monday, or if we can squeeze it in late today. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.